made to you so special? Nothing. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn!
Were you scared of that? No? Not at all, huh?
Nope.
Oh,
I'm from Brooklyn.
You're from Brooklyn, huh?
Okay guys, Frank Style, just a guy from Brooklyn, and I'm here to bring you my big Superman franchise ranking. I included every movie that has Superman featured predominantly. So before we get started, let's go through my 2 rules. Rule number 1, spoilers. I plan on spoiling everything except for the new 2025 movie. That one will be spoiler free. Rule number 2, as always, this is a favorites list, not a best list. So the best way you can converse with me about my list is to show me yours through the comments section. Coming in at number 12 is Justice League. Came out in 2017. Also known as Justice League, as Zack Snyder is replaced by Avengers director Joss Whedon after a large portion of the movie was completed. And I'm not getting into all that, but I will say that Whedon was unfairly demonized for simply doing his job. Is it a mediocre watchable comic book movie with Henry Cavill sporting a weird-ass CGI upper lip covering his mustache? Yeah, sure. But the release of the Snyder Cut makes it completely obsolete, so there's really no point in ever watching it again. My only positive is an end credit scene with Lex Luthor forming a Legion of Doom team, which I gotta say, why hasn't this been done yet? Coming in at number 11 is Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Came out in 1987. Seeing the United States and Soviet Union engaged in a nuclear arms race that could lead to the Earth's destruction, Superman decides that he must take action. He collects all the nuclear warheads from the world and throws them into space. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor has broken out of prison with a new scheme. He clones Superman with radioactive material to create Nuclear Man, played by Chippendales dancer Mark Pillow, a being just as powerful as the Man of Steel. There are many bad comic book movies that I consider guilty pleasures. Daredevil, Batman and Robin, and Blade Trinity all come to mind. And having Superman fight a nuclear-powered ex-stripper with Lee press-on nails sounds like exactly that. This was also produced by the Cannon Group, who at this point was bleeding money, so they made the entire movie on the cheap, and it shows. Whenever they show Superman flying, it's always the same green screen cutout, and it looks terrible. No, this is not so bad it's good, it's just plain bad. Coming in at number 10 is Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. Came out in 2006. This alternate version of the film is based on footage shot by director Richard Donner before being replaced on the project, and it includes material not seen from the original 1980s release. I think it's really strange, a Frankenstein's monster of spliced scenes and new scenes with cast members who are clearly many years older, and a lot of the comedy Richard Lester put in was removed for something more serious and frankly quite boring in my opinion. It even reuses the ending to Superman the movie where he spins around the world to turn back time, which doesn't even work watching both movies one after the other. I think it's just too little too late. You can try duct taping stuff and put Humpty Dumpty back together again, but unlike the Snyder Cut, there's 26 years between these two cuts. If Donner had completed what he started back in 1980, maybe it would be the superior version. Coming in at number 9 is Superman Returns. Came out in 2006. While Lex Luthor, now played by Kevin Spacey, plots to destroy him once and for all, Man of Steel, this time played by Brandon Routh, returns after a long absence to a much changed world. Lois Lane, played now by Kate Bosworth, has moved on from her life, and society has learned to survive without him. Superman must find a way to reconnect with her and find his place in a world that may no longer need him. This is what Bryan Singer left the X-Men franchise for? Mistake number one, continuing off the Donner films, recasting everyone, which is just plain stupid. Mistake number two, Lex attacks Superman with kryptonite again, just a lot more of it. Wow, now that's original, right? And mistake number three, a love triangle with Lois, Supes, and the always charming James Marsden. Are you kidding me? I am Team Marsden all the way. And of course, you get the big reveal that Lois's son is a super love child. Could you imagine all this playing out on Maury? Come on, guys, sing it with me.
Love child, never meant to be. Love child, boy poverty. Love child.
In hindsight, I'm glad they made this mess, because it would pay off many years later down the line in Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Okay, that's enough, I think.
Oh, I'm embarrassing him. I love when he gets embarrassed. He's not living out loud, so he gets all like, oh.
You guys are totally in love, aren't you?
Zachary, we are. Wow, oh God, I want to eat him up.
Save some for me.
Coming in at number 8 is Superman 3, came out in 1983. Computer programmer Gus Gorman, played by comedy legend Richard Pryor, is hired by financial tycoon / Lex Luthor stand-in Ross Webster to seize control of a weather satellite and annihilate Columbia's coffee crop. When Superman thwarts their plans, Webster commands Gorman to use his computer skills to create kryptonite. But a missing unknown element in the kryptonite, replaced by Gorman with tar, causes an unintended side effect. One half Richard Pryor comedy and one half Superman sequel. It probably hasn't aged well, but it has some interesting challenges for old Supes. You gotta give the movie some credit, as most of these other movies do the same old, same old. The kryptonite variant changes Superman, making him not give a shit about anybody. He's not shaving, he's drinking alcohol before happy hour, he's destroying private property, and the biggest crime of all, he's sleeping with trashy blondes with big boobs. Basically, he's your average guy who's had a few too much on Friday night. This gets resolved by him literally battling his demons at a construction site. But the challenges don't stop there, as he must take on a powerful supercomputer created by Gus that not only creates kryptonite correctly, it takes Ross's assistant and turns her into the stuff of children's nightmares growing up in the 80s. You add the fact that by this time, Pryor has probably done enough drugs to kill a rhinoceros, and that's enough for me to revisit this movie here and there. Get ready for a hot take, guys, because number 7 is Superman the movie, came out in 1978. Just before the destruction of the planet Krypton, Jor-El, played by Marlon Brando, sends his infant son Kal-El on a spaceship, which oddly looks like a Christmas ornament, to Earth. Raised by farmers Jonathan and Martha Kent, young Clark discovers the source of his superhuman powers and moves to Metropolis to fight evil. As Superman, he battles the villainous Lex Luthor, played by Gene Hackman, while as Clark Kent, he attempts to woo co-worker Lois Lane, played by Margot Kidder. I was 6 years old when this movie came out. It was definitely something to behold, as we have never seen a comic book movie taken this seriously and on such a grand scale. It's the first one to do it, and it should be respected as such. The origin story part is fantastic, the score is iconic, and Christopher Reeves was larger than life at this time, but whether it's watching it as a 6-year-old kid or a 50-year-old man, it just never worked for me. Gene Hackman can absolutely play a serious villain, but this version is a joke, and his plan to make money on quote-unquote beachfront property just doesn't cut it. Then we have the musical number with Supes flying Lois around Metropolis while she narrates some melodramatic romantic poetry. And this is just boring no matter how old you are. Then you get the finale with Superman saving the day by flying around the planet in reverse to turn back time. I am just not buying any of that bread. That is absolutely ridiculous and makes no sense to me. Coming in at number 6 is Brightburn, came out in 2019. The only unofficial Superman movie on this list, but I think it should be, and ironically, it was produced by James Gunn. What if a child from another planet crash landed on Earth, but instead of becoming a hero to mankind, he proved to be something far more sinister? After a difficult struggle with fertility, Tori Breyer's dreams of motherhood come true with the arrival of a mysterious baby boy. Brandon appears to be everything she and her husband Kyle ever wanted: bright, talented, and curious about the world. But as Brandon nears puberty, a powerful darkness manifests around him, and Tori becomes consumed with a terrible doubt about her son. So, in a nutshell, this is what if Superman came to Earth and he was evil from the get go. And it's a clever little horror film that could have led to so much more. Unfortunately, the box office god said otherwise. But I still think it's fascinating. We've seen dark universe stuff like this before in sci-fi stuff like Star Trek. And there's even an old Super Friends episode where the good Superman and evil Superman swap universes over an erupting volcano. But having it play out with him as a child is something dark and very different. Give me a sequel, please. Coming in at number 5 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Came out in 2016. It's been nearly 2 years since Superman's colossal battle with Zod devastated the city of Metropolis. The loss of life and collateral damage left many feeling angry and helpless, including crime-fighting billionaire Bruce Wayne, played by Ben Affleck. Convinced that Superman is a threat to humanity, Batman embarks on a personal vendetta to end his reign on Earth, while the conniving Lex Luthor, played by Jesse Eisenberg, launches his own crusade against the Man of Steel. The movie has some major problems. This version of Luthor is laughable. They were trying to fast track a Justice League movie to compete with the MCU, but you just can't do that with 2 or 3 films. They made Superman villain Doomsday look like a troll from the Lord of the Rings, and you got the whole crisis averted because of the name Martha, which became a punchline for so many throughout the years. They eventually released an Ultimate Edition, which improves things just enough for me to actually like it. But the real reason I like it is this is one of the best versions of Batman ever in film. Affleck's build and costume were way more comic accurate than the Burton and Nolan versions, and that warehouse scene is just straight fire. Coming in at number 4 is the newly released Superman, came out this year. When Superman gets drawn into conflicts at home and abroad, his actions are questioned, giving tech billionaire Lex Luthor the opportunity to get the Man of Steel out of the way for good. Donner gave us classic Superman, Snyder gave us dark Superman, and James Gunn gives us dog lovers Superman. And this guy spends most of the movie taking an absolute beating. I'm talking Daredevil Season 1 beating. It skips the origin story this time and plops you down into him losing his first battle. There's things I like about it, and there's things I just don't like. I have often complained that Superman is too overpowered, but having him get his ass handed to him for close to 2 hours seems too far in the other direction. Corn Sweat is a serviceable Superman, but he wears his pants belly button level like a senior citizen, and that's just weird to me. The new costume is a little bit odd, and I hope he gets an upgrade down the line. Nicholas Hoult is already my favorite Lex Luthor, and Rachel Brosnahan is already my favorite Lois Lane. And Guy Gardner Green Lantern is my favorite of Gunn's obscure additions. I love the updated theme song and the very comic booky world created here. Everything looks like it was pulled straight from the pages, and it's visually stunning. Crypto the Superdog steals the show, and he's kind of the real hero here. Because I need to keep things spoiler free, I can't get into too much detail about the negatives, but I will say that there's a lot of recycled ideas from all the films on this list, including some of the bad ones. And with around 80 years of stories from the comics, can't they think of something else? Coming in at number 3 is Zack Snyder's Justice League, also known as the Snyder Cut, which came out in 2021. Determined to ensure Superman's ultimate sacrifice was not in vain, Bruce Wayne aligns forces with Diana Prince with plans to recruit a team of metahumans to protect the world from an approaching threat of catastrophic proportions. Fans fought for the Snyder Cut, and they got the Snyder Cut. And Snyder threw in everything but the kitchen sink, making the movie longer than it's long. It's also superior to the Whedon cut in every way possible. The scenes where Steppenwolf takes on the Amazonians on their island is something I didn't know I needed in my life. I'm pretty sure you could make a movie about them going to an insurance seminar, and I'm grabbing my popcorn. Conversely, what I don't need is to watch a group of Icelandic women singing to Aquaman as he swims off into the ocean. The one sniffing his sweater is obviously one you eventually have to get a restraining order for. But we're here to talk about Superman, and the second half is pretty much a sequel to Man of Steel, with him being resurrected, and then he comes to save the day. All while the theme song is thundering in the background. It's something I wish I could watch more often, but you gotta dedicate a whole weekend to this mofo. And my runner-up at number 2 is Man of Steel, came out in 2013. With the imminent destruction of Krypton, their home planet, Jor-El, played by Russell Crowe, and his wife seek to preserve their race by sending their infant son to Earth. The child's spacecraft lands at the farm of Jonathan and Martha Kent, played by Kevin Costner and Diane Lane, who name him Clark and raise him as their own son. Though his extraordinary abilities have led to the adult Clark, played by Henry Cavill, living on the fringe of society, he finds he must become a hero to save those he loves from a dire threat. Cavill is my favorite Superman. I prefer this origin story and its score to the Donner one, and although there is no Superman movie without flaws, this is the one that's on my wavelength. Amy Adams got the relentless reporter part right, but she is still a poor Lois Lane. She had zero chemistry with Cavill, and she didn't have enough spunk or sex appeal. But the biggest fail is the 30-minute literal scorched earth CGI ending that for a solo introduction to the character is a bit much. Michael Shannon was perfect to play a new version of General Zod.
I will find him.
Come again?
I will find him.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I will find him, Lara.
I didn't quite get that. What?
I will find him!
Oh, you will find him. Okay. Yep, well, you're not lying. And the villain Kryptonian woman is hotter than the yellow sun that gives them all their powers. She can throw me a beating anytime she wants. And to be fair, I could use a good beating. And my number 1 Superman film is Superman 2. The theatrical cut came out in 1980, also known as the Richard Lester cut. Superman foils the plot of some terrorists by hurling their nuclear device into outer space. But the bomb's shockwaves free the Kryptonian villain General Zod and his henchmen Ursa and Nan from their imprisonment. Traveling to Earth, they threaten the planet with destruction at the same time that Superman decides to renounce his superpowers in order to live a normal life as Clark Kent with his new love Lois Lane. Lester decided to add a lot of comedy, especially with the 3 villains arriving to Earth, mostly by encountering some police officers in their small town. It's very hokey slapstick stuff, and yet dark and dangerous for those unsuspecting people. Enter veteran actor Terrence Stamp as General Zod. He is this movie. He's absolutely ruthless, and yet his performance is one of a kind. He can go from snapping to full rage.
Come to me, son of Jor-El! Kneel before Zod!
Or go light, nonchalant, comedic response.
Why do you say this to me, when you know I will kill you for it?
Which just steals every scene he's in. Does this movie have flaws? Boatloads. I'm guessing that Lester didn't know enough about Superman's or Kryptonian's powers So he embellished with silly stuff like Zod levitating objects, Superman throwing a cellophane net from the logo on his chest, and of course, the famous memory wiping kiss at the end of the film. I enjoy this movie and all its flaws because it's the one I grew up watching. As I always say, nostalgia is a powerful thing. It's a strange mix of action and comedy that predates a lot of modern comic book movies like the MCU that do exactly that. And to double down, I'm hoping they one day release the extended TV version that has even more of Lester's comedy. Bring it on, baby. Well, guys, that about wraps things up. From the city that never sleeps, from the BK. Peace, baby.
This is a Brooklyn-bound express train. The next stop is Brooklyn Bridge.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.